welcome to Slow and Not Steady with your host today, Elizabeth. Sometimes when people hurt us, it's really easy. Oh, well, not easy. We tell ourselves, well, one day they're going to realize what they did wrong. They're going to realize how bad they treated me, and they're going to regret it. They'll regret it because I know what I offer. I know what kind of person that I am. I know the value that I add. When they realize it and when it finally clicks to them, they'll be sorry because they lost a real one on their team. Yeah, that's nice. That sounds good. That sounds nice. Like, that's good and all. But what if they don't? What if they don't regret it? What if there's never a moment where it clicks in their head that you are the realest one on their team and they're perfectly fine continuing on their life without you in it because they just do not care? So then what? Are you kind of putting your healing in the hands of another person? Like saying you were going to continue on with your life and your healing process, yet in the back of your mind, you're just waiting for this person to come back and tell you how much they regret how terrible that they treated you? Or are you going to actually tell yourself they may regret it, they may not regret it, but at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with me and my healing process? Sometimes I feel like by telling ourselves that a person's going to regret how they treated us, we're putting our healing in their hands. Because there always will be a part of you that's still holding on and still waiting for them to acknowledge your substance, acknowledge your influence, acknowledge your worth in that feeling of regret. And then it comes to show if that feeling of regret never pops up, if they never like come to you or they never say that they regret it, then that kind of leaves you in a stuck position because now you're waiting on somebody, even if you don't think so. You're subconsciously waiting on somebody to release you from the shackles of the situation. And when you wait on somebody to release you from your shackles, you're not free. No matter how much you think you grew from the situation, no matter how much you think you're over it, it doesn't matter because in the back of your head, you're waiting and just building the foundation of your healing on the fact that they will regret it. And that's not a sturdy foundation. It took me a minute. I'm not going to lie to you because that was something that I told myself. I'm like, when they realize what they did or what they missed out on, or when they realize like how bad they treat me or how like they did me, they'll regret it when they see like all I did for them. This is that and the third. Like it'll make them feel terrible. And that made me feel a lot better. I'm not gonna cap. It fed my ego. It fed my sense of like value, I guess. Because I told myself they'll regret it losing me in their life, it made my ego feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside because it's like, yeah, you losing me, big L, that L, you're not gonna know what to do with yourself. But then the more I kind of sat with it, and the more I kind of thought about it, I told myself it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they regret it. It doesn't matter if they wish they did things differently. It doesn't matter if I was or was not the realest on their team. It really doesn't. Because at the end of the day, what does that have to do with me? What does their regret have to do with me? I told myself if I was firm and if I was sturdy in who I was and who I am and what I know and the value that I bring, me walking away is enough. Me leaving on my own is enough. Me knowing my value and what I brought to it, even if the other person necessarily doesn't, is enough. It's not so much for the other person to realize, it's for me to realize myself. And it's okay if they don't regret it. It's okay if they keep living their life They continue their life and they don't lose a bad of sleep over losing me. You know, it is what it is. But what I'm not going to do is allow that to hinder me and stop me from moving forward and healing. It's like if they say they regret it, cool. If not, it's cool too. But I'm not looking for it from you because I already found what I needed within myself. And I already reaffirmed myself and affirmed myself that, you know what, Liz, you were a great person to this person. You did all the best you can. You worked your hardest. You try to be the realest on their team. And if they don't realize that, that's on them. But you know your value. If they don't see it, they don't see it. Keep it pushing. And it's not for you to wait on. And it's not for me to wait on the day that they finally, or things finally click in their head. It's like, you know how sometimes we be wanting closure? And then a lot of times there'll be, people will say, closure is unnecessary. Like we think we need closure, but the reality is that we don't. Which is something I 100% agree in. Closure is overrated. Sometimes we need to be able to give ourselves closure. I kind of feel like the whole they'll regret it is another sector of closure. Like we feel like when they tell us that, we finally get the closure that we need or we deserve. Like, oh, finally, I could put this chapter of my life to rest because I know they'll never find no one else like me. Do you like hear how that sounds? To celebrate the fact that somebody regrets losing you? Tell me that doesn't sound like an egotistic thing. That's feeding your ego. It's feeding it. Sometimes we just gotta kill the ego. Because at the end of the day, it does not matter. Them regretting it, it's not going to add time to your life. It's not going to take away time from your life. It's not going to change what you have to do in the mornings. It's not going to change what time you go to sleep. It's not going to change anything. Because at the end of the day, you still have to live your life. And knowing somebody regret losing you is not going to add value to your life. And I feel like it's kind of a hard pill to swallow. It was for me, at least. Because I had to come to a point where I forgave myself. I forgave myself for putting the keys of my healing in the hands of another person. I forgave myself for wanting to feel like they'll regret losing me. I really had to dig deep. I felt like them regretting it one day or them telling me that they regret it one day, it added or it solidified the value that I was unsure, but I knew I had it myself. And I had to forgive myself for not having stronger belief in myself, not believing in myself better, for not standing stronger in my value. Because why do I need someone to affirm my value when I'm supposed to be standing firm in it my own self? And that's the tricky part. That's the ugly part, you know? Realizing that maybe I'm not as confident as I think, or maybe I'm not as, I don't know, maybe I'm not as blank as I thought I was. And then when you're in that moment and you're kind of staring at yourself, you're looking back in your reflection, you feel guilty because you're telling yourself, I should be enough. But on the flip side, you're telling yourself you're not enough and you don't feel as if you're enough. And you're putting on this facade that, yeah, I'm strong, I'm confident, I'm this, that, and the third. And then you recognize and you notice yourself holding on and waiting for someone to tell you that they regret losing you. Or you're holding on, or you're waiting for the fact for someone to apologize for the wrong that they did to you. And it's like, if you felt as if you were enough, you wouldn't need that apology. You wouldn't need that I regret this, because you can just affirm yourself. Y'all, that was another lesson. Oh God, that one hit me like a truck. There's an instance where somebody disrespected me. Oh my God, continuously disrespecting me. And as a result, I responded by blocking them. Or I responded like, you did this, and that, and you disrespected me, blase, blase. But it's like the person kind of, I'm not gonna say they try to justify it or they try to vouch for it. They're like, yeah, blase, blase. But they're like, but we need to move past it and conquer the bigger issue. So then I block them. Because I'm just like, this is bull. Because it's just like, how are we supposed to combat a bigger issue when you're disrespecting me? You're not acknowledging or you're not apologizing for the fact you're disrespecting me. But then I stepped back, thought about the bigger picture, because there was conversations needed to be had. And I told myself, Liz, what you're really upset about is the fact that you didn't get your apology. That what you wanted from this person was for them to acknowledge their wrong and all they did terrible to you and apologize for it and own up to it. But then look at this person. Look at who they are. They're never accountable for nothing. Not saying that's an excuse for the disrespect, because it's not. But what is the reality that you're going to be getting the apology that you want? So, are you just going to completely shun it out and not have the necessary conversation needed to be had about the bigger fish to fry? Or are you just going to accept it for what it is and only talk about the conversation for what it needs to be spoken about, which is the bigger fish? That was a hard realization. Because I was like, I just wanted to be treated. Like, I just want to be treated like a decent human being. I just want to be respected. I just want to, I just. But hey, we're in the real world. Not everyone's going to respect you. You can demand respect, but no one has to give it to you. So I can't, yeah. I mean, home dude's still blocked. I'm going to unblock him when I feel like it. But I don't feel like it yet. More stuff I gotta work on. My whole thing is like, yeah, you're disrespectful. You're still disrespectful. So I'm gonna just wait until the last possible minute to have conversation, and I'm gonna try it again. But it's also teaching me not to get beside myself in emotion and just kind of look at this person. And then it's just at the same time realizing like, you're disrespectful because you got an empty void, and rather than like filling yourself up and doing that inner reflection that you need, you're just projecting out to me, and you're upset. Like, you're mad how things played out. You feel like a failure, and because of that, you're just spitting this toxicity towards me and everyone around you. And then that comes back to it, not taking things personal. And then I really had to step back and be like, you know what? This isn't about me. Yeah, you're being disrespectful right now, but this don't got nothing to do with me. And when you get to that point, you realize that bitter people, they just put up this hard, rude facade exterior, but in the middle, they're nothing but like cotton candy, dissolves at the slightest touch of water. And honestly, they're probably dissolving themselves with their tears. Like, this is a joke. So why am I allowing my energy to deplete, or I'm allowing myself to get upset over a person saying disrespectful comments to me when I could see that they're hurting themselves, that they're ultimately disrespecting themselves, that they don't know what else to do and they don't have control of the situation. And the only thing they do think that they have control of is hurting somebody. I'm not going to give you that power. I'm not. Cuz it's it's pointless. It's just like, okay, you can say what you want about me. All right. That's cool. Cool. Okay. So you done with your temper tantrum? Are we gonna have the conversation? Cause you could have your tantrum, but that doesn't change the fact that certain conversations need to be had. And when you get to that point, still working on it, but I realized that I'm like, this is actually kind of amusing. Cause you're so worked up for what? You're so angry for what? You feel the need to disrespect me for what? Does that make you feel better about yourself? Do you feel bigger? Does that make you feel like a man? Does that make you feel like a woman? Does that make you feel like you're in control? And possibly you never had control and you felt like you were out of control your whole entire life and in your childhood. So this is how you fight back, and this is your inner child trying to take back the control in a toxic way. Like, let's get down to it. What's up? What's up with it? Because if I'm coming to you calm, cool, and collected, and you coming at me disrespecting and trying to fight and throwing up these arms, isn't I'm not the problem. I'm not the issue. You have some deep rooted problems. And you know what? I'm going to allow myself to remove my ego from the situation and get offended from what you're telling me, and allow my higher self to look down at this and be like, you know what? This is nothing, this has nothing to do with me and everything to do with you. There's not much you can do about these people, but let them just be. Just let them be. Self-loathe, wallow in your self-pity, do whatever you gotta do, but keep me out of it. And you think you could bring me into it? You think you could drag me down, but you're not. You're not. So there's a couple of things just to think about. It's okay if they don't regret hurting you. It's okay if they don't regret losing you. It's okay. Just accept that maybe they'll never regret it. And the moment you accept that, just let it go. You know the value you bring. You know your worth. And that is more than enough. You don't need someone to vouch for you. You don't need somebody to affirm you. You don't need somebody to realize what you already know. You know it. You don't need them to confirm it. 2 plus 2 equals 4. I know it equals 4. I don't need someone to say, oh, yeah, that equals 4 for me to now think that it's true. I knew it was true before and after them. Even if they never said it, I would have known that it was true. That's the mentality that we have to have. Know it's true before they say anything and keep it pushing in life. It's been real, y'all.